So we are here with Coach Fulks, as well as Peyton Ilderton and Olivia Olson, following Marshall's 81-70 win over IU Indy. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach. Any questions?
Well, honestly, I was really proud of the effort. 3-game weeks are hard. And, it's always the same things that kind of go in a 3-game week. Defensive coverages get harder. Rebounding on both ends gets harder. And then with that kind of physical play, the ball just gets a little loose. And so I thought we did a really good job of, when those things happened, we just kept battling. We missed some covers today that we haven't missed all year. But you just saw, everybody was just, sometimes moving either a little slow mentally or physically. And I thought that was a battle. And I think, it's one of the things in the Sun Belt I actually think is really hard. That as the NCAA keeps increasing games, we play our conference tournament so early, and the players want to play games. And so it's my job to make sure we play 31, but it means this is a 3-game week, and then we come back from Thanksgiving and we play a 3-game week. And that's really hard. But to our benefit, we have a lot of players who can do a lot of things, and so playing 11 people, we don't have to bat an eye at that. And so I thought we had a couple good runs when they made a run, and we had lots of people who stepped up.
Coaches, other than the UK and IU game, this was probably the best team you played. I mean, this was a really good team.
Yeah, they've had a lot of, they played Northwestern to 3, they played Ball State to 10. I mean, they've just been in a lot of really good games. And we knew that, and I thought, they made some really good adjustments. I thought they did probably the best to adjusting to some of the stuff. And teams that switch everything are just a little bit harder. You can't really set as much stuff up. But I thought we had some really good possessions. We had that moment we flipped to 5 out, and we knew everybody would be out. But, TT was the one who went down the middle and made the basket. I thought, they did a really good job with some of the adjustments that we would be able to make, and then converting on them, not just getting shots.
You look fourth quarter, they cut it to 5. And then you all had a couple possessions where the extra pass was made. And like you said, when they switch everything, it gets harder. But extra pass was made. One goes for a layup, one goes for a corner 3. How big is that when you're fatigued to be able to mentally still make that right play, make the right pass? And for the players, how big of a boost was that to get a couple of those possessions, stretch it back to double figures?
Well, I might be as tired as they are. I didn't know that got to 5.
Didn't either.
I thought, like I said, one of those possessions when they had made that run was we moved the ball all the way around the perimeter and Peyton hit that. But I thought, there was 2 parts of that possession that were really good. Well, really 3. 1, the ball moved. 2, when it hit Peyton's hands, we attacked the boards. And so if we didn't make that one, I felt good about the rebounding. We came into this game and, the analytics told us that we needed to get 38% of our offensive boards, and we were well above that for 3 quarters, and it was something we had emphasized, and we made sure we were talking about it. It was a little hard at Moorhead. They shot it so well, nobody went to rebound because everybody thought everything was going in. So I thought we had a way better effort today on the offensive boards, and we knew we needed to.
Again, you jumped out. You're quick.
Yeah.
To a quick lead. Again, how important is that to put the other team behind the 8 ball?
Makes everything easier. I thought we defended really well in the first quarter. But I could start to see some of the cracks. We were a little late on some coverages. We got our hands on some things and we couldn't come up with it. There was a couple of times, just physicality. We were the team that kind of relinquished a little early. But we had a lot of really good box outs in that quarter. They missed a lot and we were cleaning up the boards. But then that's what you started to see, that second rebounder coming in started to skirt free in the second quarter. And we talked about it, and I thought we did a better job. But there were some challenges, and we'll keep working on those.
How about the confidence of this team? It seems to have just grown and grown and grown since the beginning of the season.
Well, I think it's easy to be confident. We have so many players that put in work outside of just practice. So when you're putting in work like that, you're so confident in yourself. And, I'm confident on my teammates, and I'm sure they feel the same about me. So I would say we are a very hard-working team, which leads to that. So we have no doubt in ourselves.
I just feel like all summer we just put in work. We had returners who knew what they were doing and made it easier for the new people and the freshmen, so it made it a lot easier.
Yeah. And I really think, when I always think about confidence, it comes from consistency and knowing what you're doing. And, our first few games offensively, in all fairness, we had, knew it's hard to play 5-on-5 at that level. And we just had a lot of possessions where we weren't quite sure how we were going to score. And I think that's the biggest change Indiana, Kentucky, I thought we were getting closer to knowing how we were going to score, but then obviously they had some size things, so we weren't sure. But we've been spending a ton of time on the half-court offense just so they are playing with kind of their rotations and starting to understand. But I thought they did a really good job. The defensive styles on, Thursday, what day was that, Friday? Friday versus today were two really different teams, and I thought the staff did a good job of explaining both games. This is what's going to happen, and this is how we're going to have to score today. And we had worked on a couple rotations today, yesterday and this morning, and we got those looks. And so, we kind of understand what we're going to see, and it's about their ability to process it and adjust how they're going to score. And I thought they're doing a much better job now.
Something you mentioned earlier, third game in a week and second in 72 hours, yet your final quarter, you go 8 of 10 from the floor.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to? Is that more a mental capacity of not doing too much, or is that just everybody kind of buying in?
I thought it was, we got really good looks. Like, we had moved the ball, and so we were getting looks at the three-point line and at the rim, and they're tired too. And so in the fourth quarter, I just think our depth allows us to keep people fresher. And as everybody gets more comfortable, Kaya had a huge 7-point run where she got the ball at the high post and drove an attack, and that's the first time she's done that in a game. And then the very next possession, she had the three and took that. And, for her, that's a really big week for her because she hit threes in the last game, and so she's moving forward in her development. But that was a really important stretch for us. And so for all of them, they're working really hard on understanding what are they really good at and then what are they getting better at. And that has helped us a ton.
A blessing back too.
Yeah.
That's going to be a blessing, pardon the pun.
Yeah, I actually thought a couple times she got a rebound late in the second quarter, and I don't know that anybody else was going to get it. Her legs were fresh, and so she was able to give us some pretty good minutes at times. Just kind of up the intensity and somebody running around at kind of normal speed, and her normal speed's fast. But she got a couple rebounds that we really needed in that moment, and that mattered. And so and she'll keep getting better and better, and. We've got a couple things that are a little dinged up, but they'll get healthier.
You talked about getting points from different contributors, not just having one person. 7 players with at least 7 points tonight. You got to feel good about that.
I feel great about it. I think the best teams are the ones you can't key in on. We've had a couple defensive plans where we've really been able to say, hey, we're going to guard these two, and they're going to take the majority of the shots, and that's just a lot easier to plan for versus, hey, we're going to run this collective, and we're going to take what you give us. And so if you want to double the paint, we'll hit the three, and if you want to stay out, we'll score. It doesn't matter who because they all can. And then that makes you really good.
It says something about the unselfishness of this
Yes,
team, too.
absolutely.
You had 6 different kids score in
Yeah.
the first quarter.
Yeah, I just don't think any team that wants to win championships can do it with selfish people. It's just an impossible task.
Coach, you talked about just these games all throughout the week, just having 3 games. What are you doing behind the scenes to keep the morale up? And also, a game 72 hours ago, what are you doing to make those quick changes into this game, as well as what are players doing behind the scenes that we may not know about?
Well, our athletic trainer's doing a great job because she's been working really hard all summer and fall, but this fall we've been a little beat up. And so, I think one of the things that we talk about a lot is, one, they have to take care of the body. Like, that matters. But 2, I thought we did a good job this week. Our intensity was at the beginning of the week, and then everything since then was really specific to this is how we will score out of the offense as we run. And so I just think that's what we can do is help them be really comfortable. This is how they'll defend this stuff. This is what will be open. And there's things, like I was disappointed today in our baseline out of bounds stuff. I thought we had worked pretty hard on it, and we had some lapses on those things. But that, that'll just keep getting better and better. And we got a really good look late. And so some of that is also, players, we had a sideline play and we kind of just screwed up, and it's not effort, it's just understanding and getting more reps and seeing it for the first time in live play.
Roll up, more heads next. Having played on that court, does that help a little bit as far as you?
Yeah, I think there's real pros and cons. We shot really well there. She's doing a great job. I guess if there's a little bit of a negative, Maddie's on staff there, and so she at least probably knows, 2/3 of what we do. We've added enough new stuff so at least something will catch them off guard. And I tried to be very purposeful the other day when we were there not to run that kind of stuff. But that they're doing a really good job. I think that's going to be a really good game for us. And I'm excited for that one. She's done a really good job recruiting there in her first year.
Thanksgiving team plans? What of the team plans for the team? Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I hope everybody's taking a couple days off. We'll go Tuesday. They get a 2-day break. We need it physically. And so this is a good week for us to really get healed. And so tomorrow has to be an off day. We've gone 7 days in a row. So we'll be off tomorrow, and then we will get caught up academically for the next week when we have 3 road games. I mean, that to me is really important. The week before finals is hard. But we'll go Tuesday, ton of film, try to get better at just us. We've had to do a lot of planning, so just us getting better. And then 48 hours off, and then we get ready for 3 again.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.